Okay, here we are. Alt.nerd.obsessive. Worst episode ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever, a podcast for people who love The Simpsons by people who love The Simpsons about how much we hate The Simpsons. We are here trying to find which is the worst episode ever. And as always, my name is Dan.
And as always, my name is Jack.
And today we are going to be watching an episode from, season 24. It is called Gone Abie Gone. Jack, have you seen this one?
I don't think so. I've seen Gone Baby Gone, the Ben Affleck directed movie.
Actually, I'd never seen Gone Baby Gone.
It's
I was
really
thinking
good
Mystic
movie.
River for some reason. I think they were both the same
I think it's
author.
way better than The Town or Argo.
Really? I got to see it. All right. So can we watch that instead, or do we have to watch this terrible episode?
Let's watch both.
All right, done. So we're going to watch this, and then we're going to watch Gone Baby Gone. But Gone Abie Gone originally aired November 11th, 2012. I've never seen it. It was written by Joel H. Cohen, who I don't think is one of the Coen brothers.
He might have brothers.
he may be a Coen brother, but
he's
not
one of the Coen
the
brothers.
titular Coen brothers. That doesn't make any sense in that context.
Nope.
All right, so we're just going to keep going. Guys, if you want to support the show, here's what you can do. Go to our website. It's wepodcast.com. Nope, not www. It's www.weepodcast.com.
They've added a W.
We're now a WWE podcast. Or you can just go to amazon.wepodcast.com. That will take you right to Amazon, but we will get a small cut of what you buy.
You gotta buy some
the Coen Brothers DVDs.
Buy some suntan
They're very
lotion,
good.
some
Yeah,
sand castles.
It's hot out there. It's very hot in Wii Studios.
Buy an air conditioner. If you're gonna buy an air conditioner, buy it online through us. That would give us pay for our Squarespace for like a few days.
That would keep us real cool. And if you want to buy us an air conditioner for the studio, we would love it.
Right, we have an air conditioner. We just can't use it.
It would have to be the top of the line, like silent air conditioner. I assume those exist.
Yeah.
So if you're crazy and rich,
The General Electric Ninja 3000 series.
that's what we want. So click through amazon.wepodcast.com and we can do that. We have a guest. We're going to bring him out in a little bit. But first, we're going to take a break. We're going to watch the episode. And if you haven't, you can do that right now on simpsonsworld.com or wherever you watch episodes.
Or just watch Gone Baby Gone. It's a
Gone Baby
really
Gone.
good movie.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
What's her face? Won the Oscar for it, right? Holly from The Office. I can't think of her real name.
Did she win?
I think so. Amy Ryan?
She was
Is that her
definitely
name?
nominated.
Maybe she didn't win.
It was a good podcast we've got here.
It's informative. That's what people like about it. All right, let's take that break.
Hello? Rita LaFleur? Did you know a man named Abe Simpson?
Know him. I'm married to him.
Homer! She's married to your dad!
Woohoo! I get 2 Christmases!
So that was Gone Abie Gone.
It sure was, Jack. And I wish it stays gone.
Yeah, I wish that episode stays gone, baby. Gone.
Baby Abie.
So we're gonna introduce a guest who brought that piece of shit to our doorstep.
Some guests bring gifts. Some guests bring
Others
turds.
poop on our welcome mat.
In a flaming bag.
Welcome, Billy Kammerer. How's it going, Billy?
Great. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate
course.
it.
Of
Being here. It's an honor.
course. Billy is a stand-up comic from Queens. That's where I met him a long time ago, I guess. And
I believe at Austin Dale House. We were doing the show at Austin Dale House.
And I've been wanting to get you on the show pretty much forever because like the week we started Worst Episode Ever, I told you about it and you got really into it. I didn't realize you were such a Simpsons fan.
Yeah.
And me and Dan just not great at planning ahead.
No,
or
not at
scheduling
all.
ahead. But
So
we're
84 episodes later, here you are.
here you are finally, and you brought an episode and you brought Gone Abie Gone.
Yes.
Why? Why did you bring this episode?
Why did you do this to us? I only met you today, and I
Well,
thought you were a nice guy until we watched
It's
this episode.
probably my least favorite episode.
Yeah.
I gotta say. Out of all,
I can see that.
yeah.
It's a stinker. So you're a classic.
We'll talk about
did
why,
you
but
grow
no.
up watching The Simpsons?
Oh yeah, Tracy Ullman, day one, total homer head from
Nice.
from 1988 to
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah. When did you
To
still
present.
watch it?
But yeah, not as much as I used to. Like I'll catch the reruns, of course, but the new ones I got to say don't really make it.
Yeah. So Sundays at 8, you're not tuning
It's
in.
not must see TV for me like
Right.
it was anymore.
Makes sense.
It's on the DVR, but if they get deleted, it's no big loss.
Or it'll be background noise if I'm
right.
doing
Yeah,
something.
that's
or-
pretty much how I was still watching it until I cut the cord. What would you do? What's your favorite? So we know what your least favorite episode is. What's your favorite episode?
Oh, King Size Homer.
Nice.
Beyond a shadow
Classic
of a doubt.
episode.
That was
Good
in
choice.
I have a rotating like top 5, and that for a long time that was my number 1, King Size Homer.
It's a great episode. Solid choice. Season 7. Great
Yeah,
season.
yeah. Raspberry.
The whole thing with him with the computer, and then
Yeah.
him just it's just great writing, very funny.
Yes.
And
The exact opposite of this
the
episode.
exact opposite of this one.
Before we get into this episode, since we've got you here, yeah, like I said, you do stand up.
I try to do stand
and
up.
it's and we all try. I noticed you're one of the only guests I've noticed who holds the studio mic like a stand up.
I have
Like
noticed that,
it's
yeah.
in your DNA. Like you're performing to me
It's
and
either
Dan
this
right
or
now. Yeah.
myself. So whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to.
So do you have shows coming up?
Yes, I do have a couple of shows coming up. I do. June 4th, we'll be at Mike's Tavern
Yeah.
in my hometown of South Ozone Park, Queens, 8814 Liberty Avenue. And then June
What time?
That's 9 p.m.
9 p.m. All right.
And then June 11th, I'll be at the Holiday Inn in Plainview with some very big people. I got booked on a roast with Stuttering John, Jackie the Joke Man
That's
from
awesome.
Howard Stern
Oh,
and
wow.
Bob
Yeah,
Levy.
nice.
So I got that's June 11th, 7 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Plainview.
That's my birthday, June 11th.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. That's my birthday gift. Is that you get to do a show.
Yeah.
with,
That's amazing.
That was so nice of you.
I
Jack.
got one wish, and that was it.
Wasted it on me.
Well,
But
I was going to ask for the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4, but they're both coming out with new models soon. So
Right.
I figured I'd wait, and I would just use the wish on you.
thank you so much.
Good move.
My family appreciates it.
Yeah, of course. I try. Well, as a thank you, as paying it forward, I'm going to be doing some very quick set with you
On June 4th,
On June
yes,
4th,
like-
yeah. So if you're in New York and you're listening to this in the next 3 or 4 days that this
Yeah.
aired, it's not like you need to book tickets well in advance or anything. It's just
No.
very casual. It's at a bar and
Yeah, it's not Ticketmaster or Live Nation, nothing like that.
If it was
No.
if it was Ticketmaster and
No
the show
Louis
was
CK
and the show
presale,
was
nothing
free,
like that.
yeah, if the show was free and it was on Ticketmaster, you would still have to pay about $45.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Well, I actually have a show coming up. It is on Ticketmaster. It's my spoken word. Freet Goldberg, ASMR expert. So get ready for that.
You know, those kinds of weird things, you probably could charge like a $60 ticket.
All right.
And
Listeners, you heard it here. $60. I'll record whatever you want as Freet.
You're going to get requests for voicemails now.
That's fine. I'll do it. $60. I'll do it. I'll do literally whatever you
just
want for
give him
$60.
the money.
Yeah. You want Ray Romano and Hemus in a cat fight? I'll do it.
just give them the money.
I'm not doing it for free. You got to pay me.
All right, so let's talk about this episode.
Do we have to? Do we have to, Jack? Just once. Just one time. Can we just not talk about the episode?
You said worst episode ever, so I figured,
That's the
All
name of the
right.
show.
I guess we'll do the recap.
All right, let's do the recap. So
it's like we're upset that it really sucks. It's
Yeah,
like,
we're pretty.
we're always holding out hope that there's going to be like a great episode. That we're like, holy
Yeah,
shit, that was better than King Size Homer.
nothing post 2003 is
There's got to be one. There's got to be one. There's like
We've liked a few episodes. This was not
I-
one of
I
them.
don't think
maybe the revenge episode is a favorite of mine.
Which one?
The revenge episode. They have 3 different.
Oh, well, you haven't watched that one.
I don't
yet.
know that
There's,
one.
Like
the
the-
vignettes of revenge.
That's a good one.
Okay.
But
We've covered a few episodes that we like our least worst episode
Yeah,
ever is
the
the
Halloween
one.
of Horrors.
I still don't. I like is almost still too strong of a word though.
It was not. That's not a bad
Tolerate.
episode.
Which one?
tolerate.
I would
maybe?
rewatch that.
Yeah,
episode.
tolerate for sure. For a few of those episodes. Anyway, all right. So this episode starts with the Simpsons miss a visit with Grampa that they had scheduled, and then they go to see him, and he is missing. He's just the retirement castle lost him. They have no idea where he is. So Homer
And they
and
didn't
Marge,
call. They don't call the
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Nothing like that.
Nothing.
There's
Yeah, of
no,
course not.
There's just they're literally like
elder abuse all over Springfield. It just
Well, it's Gone Abie Gone. It's not. We tried to call you because Abie's gone and we couldn't find him.
Touche. So they follow a series of clues, starting with a coaster, and they go to a bar. They find out that Grampa had actually used to be a jazz writer.
Spiros Bar
Yeah.
and Restaurant
Yeah.
that we thought was the Astoria Diner, and
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that for sure. I've got some things to say about that.
Oh, yeah.
So they find out that it's that Grandpa was a jazz writer, a jazz singer, and he wrote songs, and he actually was married to this not old at the time, this young jazz singer. And they actually had started a family together with Homer after Mona had left. But she got a European tour. I think they both got a European tour, and Grandpa had to decide whether to move Homer to Europe or not. And he decided it wasn't best for Homer for, again, we'll get into it, for a stupid reason.
Yep.
So basically, he chooses his Homer over his music and his love. and he's miserable. And finally, they find Grandpa working in a liquor store. They kind of come to terms with this, and I guess they make up for it. And Homer apologizes for not appreciating Grandpa's and not visiting him more. There's also a B plot where Lisa gets addicted to online poker because she's trying to make a college fund based on the $5,000 that Homer had won from an onion ring lawsuit. That starts
which
the
happened
show.
in the first 30 seconds of the episode.
Let's talk about that scene since it's the first scene. Homer is in a drive-through. He goes up to a fast food chain. This episode, like a lot of post-classic episodes, has a lot of stand-up humor. Like, what's something in the news today? You know what? Classic Simpsons did it too. It's a matter of how well you seat it in. And we'll get into some stuff that I like. The online poker stuff was very heavy-handed. But what I did like was just the subtle nod to the fast food menu had. Try our healthy veggie options.
Yeah.
And that makes me laugh because I'm a big fast food guy. I mean, I try not to be anymore, but I still love it, even though I don't really go that often. And it is really funny to go to like a Wendy's or a McDonald's and they have like they're trying to push the veggies on you. And
It's like have a salad with your nuggets. It makes it healthy.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. So there's a reference to that, and Homer has a thought bubble where it's Marge going, now, Homer, you can't eat. Dr. Hibbert said you've got to eat healthier.
Well, I think she said, didn't you hear Dr. Hibbert when he said you have to eat healthier? And he's like, I don't remember that. And then Dr. Hibbert appears and says, eat healthier.
He appears in like
that was funny
in
a second thought bubble.
Almost like a thought bubble to Marge's thought bubble.
Right. I thought that was funny. Like, then just have Dr. Hibbert pop in and say, "Oh, eat healthier." That was a good gag, and then it just goes on and it's terrible.
But then Hibbert's
wife shows up,
and she starts. They start having
She's
an
like,
argument.
"Oh, you don't eat healthy. You were at the
That's
chicken
a
place."
classic
Catfish grill.
That was
whatever.
a classic Cosby show thing with Felicia Rashad and
where
Cliff
they
Huxtable
argue.
always had to eat healthy.
Right.
Yeah, except
It was weird when Dr. Hibbert raped all those women. No? Is it too soon for that?
it
Classic Cosby Show
never
humor.
too soon for her.
it wasn't not weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't not weird when Dr. Hibbert raped all those women.
It's a little weird. You don't expect Dr. Hibbert to just, be a horrible human being.
So like he's going.
But they heard the laugh. Like, that was all.
That's
so
right.
gave it away.
That's it.
I hope because I think Cosby is going to trial now.
He is, yes.
And I doubt it'll be like a century of the trial of the century like OJ was.
It's a little early to pick the trial of the century.
But I'm really interested to know if in like 10 years or 20 years FX is going to do like a serialized
People
drama
versus
of
Bill
the,
Cosby.
of the people versus Bill Cosby.
Oh my God. That seems
Who would
ill-advised.
who would play Bill Cosby?
Like a tired sack of potatoes, just like on the witness stand, like trying to stay awake.
Oh God.
Sponsored by Jell-O.
In a bad sweater.
Yeah, in a
In a bad sweater. Oh Jesus. But yeah, that whole sequence was just kind of bleh.
Yeah.
But yeah, this episode, we got the scene of Squeaky Boys Teen where
he's being overwhelmed.
Right, it seems like he's the manager and also the only employee at the Krusty Burger.
Well, there's also
And
the very beautiful.
It was a
teenage
Krusty
girl.
Burger.
It was a Krusty Burger.
It wasn't
Was
Krusty
it?
Burger.
Okay. Yeah, because
Oh.
Krusty later on says he gets sued, and he's just
Probably
like,
the best cameo of
restaurant.
the episode.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
not.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, it was just a different
Possibly
fast
because it
food
happened literally within 5 seconds.
Well, the only reason I could see it not being a Krusty Burger was for that joke later on where Krusty was like, "It
That
wasn't my
great
restaurant."
joke where Krusty was like, "It wasn't my restaurant."
Because there wouldn't be any vegetables at a Krusty Burger. Let's
Yeah,
be
that's
totally
true.
that's
honest.
very true. That's accurate.
It'd be vegetable-like, vegetable imitation
substance.
substance. Yeah, and there's like a homeless guy who's bathing himself in the bathroom.
Right, and
The girl who wanted to leave early.
Yeah.
So she could get drunk before a party.
Yeah, that's
Way
what
too
teenagers
much
do.
thrown
Yeah.
in
Pre-game.
like 45 seconds of it. You had like 7 plots already, like
Yeah.
45 seconds
And
of
if
it.
this was, I mean, I guess it does propel the story because this is eventually how Homer gets the poker money, but it's a
Yeah.
lot of legwork for.
Well,
not,
let's talk about all of these, like this first act kind of in total, because I don't agree that it sets anything up. Like the poker money is the side plot that Lisa gets thrown into, whereas Homer is in the grandpa plot, which is just thrown in at the
It
end
was
of this
really
comes
jacked.
out of complete nowhere.
come out of nowhere. It's completely unconnected.
it looks
So-
like it's going to be Homer playing poker is going to be one of
Right.
the plots, and then he kind of just, it's like a relay race. He tags in Lisa. He's like, all right, this plot's yours now. I'm moving on to the grandpa
yeah,
plot.
yeah, basically. And
Here's
it's-
my Cosby Show baton. You take.
don't do what he would do. Do better.
Don't drink from his.
That's a flashback
drink.
because
Don't drink his Jell-O.
The relay race would be.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it's-
yeah,
Yes,
sorry,
right.
showing my age.
Throwing some, just some
Sorry.
obscure Cosby, some pre-rape Cosby references.
This is a post-rape Cosby show, so
Sorry.
but no, like
Stop making him likable, Billy.
within the span of like 3 minutes, we've gone from Homer's at the drive-thru, squeaky voice teen has problems, Homer is burned by a bunch of onion rings, Homer goes to a lawyer, Homer sues Krusty, Homer
lot.
wins a bunch of money, Homer is gambling on
It's
poker.
all to set up a B plot that has nothing to do with Homer.
And then out of nowhere, it's just look at the calendar. We forgot it was Grandpa Day, and that's how that plot starts.
Yeah, you're right. It was
None of it is connected to anything.
and it's
For any
connected.
reason.
It's connected to the poker plot, but then you're right. If that's going to be Lisa's plot, then Lisa should be integrated into this whole setup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do,
it was
do something.
It was this episode was such a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets burned by these onion rings because so basically Squeaky Voice Teen's overwhelmed. He gets confused. The onion rings are burning, and he throws them to his side. They go out the
Right, he
drive-through
throws them out
window,
the
and they
drive-thru, yeah.
scald Homer, which was viscerally very painful to watch. Like
Yeah.
Homer covered in hot oil onion rings. Like that is traumatic.
That would be some significant burning.
Yeah. Anyway, he gets $5,000, and he goes.
Did they even show the trial, or did he just went right?
They
They show Krusty
about
go-
5
Oh, that's
seconds.
right, for Krusty. We were talking about
Krusty
that.
says,
Shows you how much
"Oh, I have the worst lawyers. This isn't even my
Right,
restaurant."
Right.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that joke
Yeah.
2 seconds ago, and I forgot it.
It's all right, Billy.
It's a very forgettable joke, Billy.
I didn't even smoke anything yet.
You,
this morning.
you didn't smoke anything, and you also haven't drank anything from Bill Cosby yet. So
That's
you
true.
should be
That's
of
true.
clear
that you
mind
know
right
that,
now.
I always drink Bill Cosby.
He lives in your neighborhood, and he's just like, Billy, I need you to take
Listen,
a drink
every once in
here.
a while, you gotta take one for the team.
I appreciate you staying in my corner, Billy. I'll give you some Jello.
So he's they're at the bar, and they're wondering what they should do with Homer's.
Yeah, Homer
thinking
goes to the
about-
bar, right?
Yeah,
he's talking to
And
Lenny
he
and
ends up
Carl.
at the bar just like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, "What should I do with my $5,000?" And there's a whole thing about Kermit and Sesame Street.
Yes. So they say, don't give it to the bank. The bank will give it to other people to invest. I learned that from Kermit the Frog on Sesame Street. I think Lenny said
Yeah.
that. And I thought it was kind of funny because he says that, and then he's like, yeah, Kermit was wearing his trench coat and everything. I thought that was a funny line, like to show how serious it was.
Yeah.
But then they kept talking about Kermit the Frog for like 30
they're
seconds.
like, all the Kermits are all the frogs on that show are Kermit. They're like, oh man,
He's
that's
putting
taking
out all the other
Yeah,
he's putting all the other frogs out of a job.
What the fuck was
Can
this?
somebody name one other famous frog, other than maybe the Budweiser frogs?
Michigan
that,
J Frog.
Michigan
J
J
Frog.
Frog.
Good
From
one.
the W.
And also the 4 ninja frogs from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that
Yes.
live in the bayou.
Yep. Yeah,
Not
it
in the
was,
bayou.
There were
the
Ninja frogs
Everglades.
and Ninja Turtles?
there were ninja frogs.
I don't know if they were ninjas, but there was Genghis Frog.
Genghis Frog was one.
Napoleon
Napoleon
Frogapart.
Bonafrog.
Frog.
They were not very cleverly named.
I'm
Yeah.
a Turtles fan. I didn't know.
I feel like Alexander the
Yeah.
Frog was one of
And the Hitler Frog.
Yep, Hitler Frog. They didn't make an action figure out of him, which was a shame.
Hitler Frog. I don't
Hitler
see.
Frog. It was Bill Cosby's favorite character. Anyway,
that was again, yeah, the trench coat line or the fact that they learned about banks from Sesame Street. I didn't like any of this stuff, but they were neutral to me. Like one by themselves, it was like fine.
Indifferent.
Yeah, exactly.
digs
Indifference the
for-
perfect word.
Well-
but then the fact that they spent so much time and they're just
Yes.
I was like, what are we doing here?
they were not very funny bits that went on a long time, and they
funny
did
bits
a
that-
lot of them.
And then maybe a funny bit or two that was probably just a little too short.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like this scene, if they still doomsdayed the show and did 40 drafts of a script, this scene would not have survived in that state.
No,
That's
like,
something
this
that would
is-
have been out by draft 3.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring this up a little bit later with something else, but it felt like in this episode there was a lot of scenes that were there to be funny that had nothing to do with the story.
Which is fine if they're funny.
If they're funny, maybe it's fine, but it's like, it's not connected to character at all.
But
It's
you
just,
don't need
it's just.
that. I mean, The Simpsons.
You don't need that, but this
think
show
of how
used to be
many-
good at that.
It used to be great at it, but they also had tons of gags in the classic era that had nothing to do with character story.
Right.
Like, think about something really silly, just off the top of my head, something really silly. I forget what episode it is, but where they're watching TV and it's McGruff the crime dog, and he's just going,
Right.
woof, 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 sponsored by woof, woof, woof. That has nothing to do with character. It has nothing to do with story. But
But it
it's
does have
silly.
something to do with story because eventually they used that crime
Oh,
thing
yeah.
to
Yeah.
it's part of the plot.
All right.
There's-
You
Kermit
got
the Frog.
me.
Kermit the Frog has nothing to.
You
Why
got
the
me.
fuck are we talking about Kermit the Frog for so much time?
I don't know. So Mo introduces the idea of online poker. He's like, you should put your $5,000 in here instead of a bank. It's safer because it's offshore and whatever. He's like, this is where it got a little stand-uppy. It's like, hey, online poker, this is a thing everybody plays.
Finally, The Simpsons is doing an online poker episode.
Look, if they're going to do it well, then I have no problem with that because it is a pretty prominent...
It's a few years past the poker.
I mean, this episode came out in 2012. I feel like poker was like 2005 was when it was
very
big.
2005.
It was relevant to casual people like us in 2005. It's still very much a huge culture.
Like, you can see the card. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So there's one line here that I did. So Homer agrees to put his money into that. There is one line I do like where either Mo or Carl says it. And he says, he's like, the United States, compared to the third world, compared to the rest of the third world, we're doing great.
Yeah, I like that too.
I love the idea because on many different ways, if you draw a line, we're completely different from all of the rest of like the modern Western world.
Yeah.
In terms of like healthcare stuff like that, we're always like dead last. So we're obviously not a third world country, but it's really funny to think of us as like the best third world country.
Absolutely.
So that was like a nice subtle political line right in there.
I want to give this episode credit where it is due, which is very infrequently. I thought the design of the poker site, I actually liked it a lot. And it was weird that the avatars that they were using were the people themselves, but I thought they looked good,
Well, they
like
were
a little
in the
digitized.
first scene, and then in the last scene where Lisa eventually loses all her money, then they are using weird avatars. Like comic book guy is using a muscular superhero. And
Oh, you're right. Well, Apu was Apu, and Bart was using Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, in the first scene, they were all just themselves.
Yeah.
No, the Simpsons always do like video games and computer games well. And I've said this on the show before, even though we're now 30 years on and we're not 8-bit anymore, they always seem to keep that pixelated 8-bit.
Yeah.
So it's incongruous where it made sense in the early 90s, but it still works. It gives it some charm. And they always bend the rules a little bit. Like the video games in the early seasons of The Simpsons, you could always do things you couldn't really do in a video game. Like
of course,
there was like too much. They were playing with it. It's a cartoon.
Yeah,
and they do some really funny stuff with the video poker, the online poker in this episode like that, where it's like this would never happen in real life. It's silly, but it's funny. Like at one point, the dealer says Lisa's crying.
Lisa went all in and lost all her money,
and she's crying, and the dealer goes, "Please log off. We can all hear you."
Yeah, I like that. That was funny.
That's obviously.
Or like Bart tips the waitress and her chest gets bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like weird stuff like that, I appreciated. Yeah, so I did like the look of the online poker.
Yeah.
What did you think in general of the online poker stuff?
Like you said, the video game, they always usually do a pretty good job with the video games. Like the avatars, it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Should we just talk about the whole
Let's get the poker
subplot
stuff out of the way.
All right. Let's talk about this scene. So before Homer hands the plot baton to Lisa, there's a extended scene where he is like, I put money into a poker site. That's your college savings. Your college savings is on a poker site. Look, I put it on a T-shirt. Your college savings is on a poker site. He says it like 3 or 4 times. It's never funny.
Nope.
I don't know what the joke is.
Nope.
Like,
there's one surreal joke I kind of liked, but I was already so hating the scene so much that it was too little, too late. But at one point, he gives her the T-shirt that says, like, put your college fund in a poker site. Yeah, on a poker site. She goes, where do you even get this shirt? He goes, actually, I've had it for years. And I was about to throw it away.
Yeah.
That's like a weird little bit of surreal. But that was, I don't know. This episode
sucked.
A lot of the jokes,
funny.
like the Kermit Frog stuff and this stuff, was, like you said, it was funny for funny's sake.
Yeah.
Which is fine if it's actually funny, but...
Yeah. It just like, that's right, on a poker site, just over and over again. And I just did not care for it.
Subliminal.
Yeah, I kind of want to play some poker, to be honest with you.
I love playing online poker. It did reignite that itch. That's the other thing. Homer doesn't directly pass the baton to Lisa. Bart it really is a relay race. Bart has it for a scene.
You're right.
If the plot was... Because at first I was like, why is Homer playing online poker? Marge should play it. She's the gambler. This would be interesting. Marge getting addicted.
That would have been much better.
Then I quickly realized this plot has nothing to do with the whole episode.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, wouldn't it be interesting if it's like the Simpsons get addicted to online poker and they're all sharing the computer and everybody gets a good scene in? And they don't quite do that. Everything's half-assed. But Bart does get one scene.
You could have even had all of them playing like simultaneously on different computers and like playing
loses
against
at a
each
bad
other
hand or something.
Yeah. And it causes acrimony among the family.
Something, yeah. But
there's something to that.
Instead, it's this disjointed. Now Bart's playing. Now Lisa's playing. Now Bart was actually still playing.
Right. Well, Lisa gets mad because Bart is playing and it's her college fund. So he leaves and goes outside and like blows on the window while
Also,
Lisa's
did Marge
playing.
have any? I guess not, because it's Homer's onion ring money. But they never really. They really do gloss over the fact that it's horrible of Homer to be gambling with Lisa's money.
Well-
It's like Homer's dumb. He does dumb things. That's the point of The Simpsons. It's like
Pretty much,
but
yeah.
there's a-
But was the idea even that he was going to gamble with it to make more money
he was
for
just
Lisa?
leaving it in
I
as
think
like
he
a-
might have just been leaving it in
as
instead
like a-
of taking it to the
That's
bank.
dumb. That's
Yeah,
hard.
that
dumb.
was his whole thing. Yeah, just not. To,
It's dumb.
just-
It's a dumb plot.
That's because that's completely unrelatable. It's so ungrounded in reality. I mean, I guess you could
Right,
do
because
that.
otherwise we'd all do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I do have $300 in. Oh no, I lost it all. I bet I played online blackjack for like one summer, for 1 week.
For one glorious week.
and I was up hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I probably put in like $25. I think eventually I lost it all, and I stopped playing because I was like, it's probably rigged because it's blackjack. I'm playing against a algorithm. So I stopped playing for that. So I played for 1 week. To this day, I still get gambling junk mail, like in my snail mail, in
course
my
you do.
mailbox, at least once a week from various different companies. And
Yeah,
I
like
get-
the CD
Yeah.
to start.
I get 9 out of the 10 unknown phone numbers I get if I finally do decide to answer them or they leave a message. Gambling website. It's amazing
Wow.
how hard they're trying to, because
Yeah.
they know they just need to give me a little push, and I
Yeah,
would give them all of my
absolutely.
money.
All you need is a little push.
Nice Joker.
The casinos are the Joker. They want to see the world burn. They're going to burn all your money. Anyway, so Bart was playing poker, and then he leaves. Lisa kind of, like, I guess she's dealt into a hand and sees that she has a good hand. She's got 2 queens, and she plays. She wins. What did you think about Flanders comes by? He's outside and says, gambling, huh? Satan's most popular, most potent recruiting tool. And then he does the same thing Bart was doing, like blowing on the glass. It was weird.
Well, she said, "Respect my privacy, please, Mr. Flanders," and he leans in more, like respects her privacy
Yeah.
less.
That was one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Yeah.
As goofy as it was,
It was
always-
goofy.
Like, out of context, it was goofy enough for me to laugh. But what was going on here? Was this supposed to give Lisa some kind of conflict? Should I be gambling? Why? Why was this here?
That's a very good question, Jack, that I do not have an answer
because
for.
you had to put Flanders in.
You had to
You
have
had to
Flanders.
get Flanders in there. But probably my favorite part of the episode was that Bart pops out of the chimney. And she's like, "Get out of here, Bart!" And he leaves. He goes back up the chimney, and it makes a like
there's
noise.
music, and he floats. He magically floats back up.
Right, and Lisa goes, "How did he do that?" And then you cut to Millhouse on the top of the house with a pulley, like pulling Bart
Yeah,
out
like
of the
a winch,
chimney.
yeah.
And he says, "We can't let Lisa lose her sense of wonder."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was very funny.
I thought that was very funny. That was probably my favorite joke. In
Yeah,
the,
I think that was my favorite part
Always
of the
good to see
episode.
Millhouse. And,
Absolutely. So then we see later on, this is the next thing I have for the poker plot. Lisa's trying to read up on poker. I liked she was reading a book, A-Roke on poker, which was just kind of funny.
They rhyme.
It rhymes, and Al-Roke, as far as I know, knows nothing about poker, so
Yeah,
it
what do
was
you know?
funny.
I bet she's like
I
the
don't know
biggest
anything,
poker
but-
shark there is.
Oh,
Maybe like an
he's-
unknown name,
I have a feeling he's just
Right?
like he's just cutthroat.
right?
Going to those like underground poker
Yeah, but like fucking,
places.
like in rounders, like you can see
Yeah,
with
right.
KGB and they're sharing Oreos.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like the Russian mob, like crooked senators.
And Al-Roker.
A-Roke.
Alex Rodriguez and Al Roker.
A-Rod and A-Roke.
What did you guys think of the Jennifer Tilly scene? So Jennifer Tilly,
like-
famous actress, famous poker player also.
Famous for
Oh, is she
also
a famous
married,
poker
was
player?
married
Yeah,
to Sam
yeah,
Simon.
yeah. Was she
Oh,
really?
yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah.
did not know
Yes,
that.
she got billions in Simpsons money.
Oh wow, I did not. Oh, that's what the joke
Yeah,
was
that's what
when
the joke-
she
yeah.
said like she plays with her Simpsons money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not get that. Okay, that makes sense.
They were
then.
married before it hit big, and then when they got there, she got.
Yeah, so, like she's had a
Wow.
very successful movie career.
and she married a poker player also. She
there you
married.
go. But yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine 90% of her income is Simpsons royalties.
I would think about 99.9% of the income.
I'm not liar liar.
Yeah.
I thought it was all those liar liar.
Liar,
royalties.
liar.
royalties, right?
That's a close second.
Close second. All right. What did you think of that scene just in general? And like when Chucky comes out at the end?
Well, I'm glad we have Billy here for this because Billy's a big horror guy.
I'm a huge 80s horror fan.
Yeah.
And I thought the joke sucked.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's-
I thought that
so
was-
she says, all
if
right,
it was a little earlier, maybe, or like if you had been sitting there playing with her, maybe.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to bring him in, it was just
basically
too much.
what
right?
happens is she says, all right, I have to stop making this poker video now. I'm needed on the set of Bride of Chucky, 5,
I think it was, yeah.
And then Chucky comes out and he's like, he's a doll. So he walks on the table and he's like, we need you on set. Here's my problem. That's a fairly obscure reference because not a lot
of people know she was in
not a
Bride
lot
of
of people
Chucky.
know. It's not like it's
Yeah.
a touchstone movie where people go, "Wow, it's Bride of Chucky."
Bride of
And
Chucky
Seed of
did very
Chucky.
well.
It did very well
and
for
Seed
people
of Chucky,
like
Curse of Chucky.
It did,
They're actually
like-
very close to making Bride of
Chucky
Chucky 5.
was very good at.
Pop
I like- yeah, it was
culture-minded
good.
guys like us know Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
My mom would not get that joke, and my
Right.
mom could watch The Simpsons.
But would your mom even know who Jennifer Tilly is?
Probably not. But that's what I'm
Mom
saying.
isn't watching Bound, right?
Yeah, no, she's not watching Bound. Let's hope not. But I feel like it's just
Bound is a good movie. You know,
It's
you
just
can
a
watch
great
it just for the non-lesbian
Anyway,
parts.
look, it's a somewhat obscure reference.
That's a great
Not-
movie for a mute button too.
It's not terribly obscure, but it's somewhat obscure. That's fine. Simpsons does obscure jokes. But if you're doing an obscure Chucky joke, then how do you get Chucky so wrong? Chucky's talking in a kid's voice.
Yeah. Right.
Chucky doesn't talk in a kid's. So I guess
Yeah.
when you pull the string and he's doing
Brad
Chucky
Dourif was
loves to
busy, I
play,
guess.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah.
But I'm sure what's his face, the voice of Chucky.
Brad
Brad
Dourif.
Dourif.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have been up for doing.
Yeah, I feel like it would not be hard to get Brad Dourif to
and,
come in.
and he's a fun guy. He loves playing up the role. He's
Yeah.
proud of it. That could have been a fun scene. Like, we need you on set, babe. Something like that. And
Yeah.
he makes a joke. He has like a head, like a dismembered head or something.
Well,
Yeah,
just,
that
or just
would've been
having
good.
there playing poker with her
Yeah.
would have been funnier than just having him show up just to put him in there because she was in the Chucky movies. You
Yeah.
could've had,
Yeah.
what's her face? She was in Bound with Gina Gershon.
Gina
Show up
Gershon,
too.
yeah.
It could have been the same joke.
Yeah.
Something. And
you're right.
So I think it's weird that they would go out of their way to make a somewhat obscure Chucky reference and then totally botch Chucky.
Yeah.
Like again, my impression is they're doing this kid's voice for Chucky, and I would be like for my mom, where she goes, "Okay, this is Chucky," and they're like, it's Jack's mom. She doesn't know. She'll just say, "Oh yeah, it's Chucky," whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, but then if that's your thinking, like, yeah, just give him a half-ass Chucky. They get it. They get the joke. Then why have an obscure Jennifer Tilly
Right,
thing?
it's
Who are you
obscure
playing
and not
to?
explained.
Who are you
It's
playing
not,
to?
It's not much of a joke.
Yeah. Are you playing to people who are casually familiar with Chucky, or are you playing to people who...
Right. I just mostly like Jennifer Tilly, and I thought she did well with what she was given.
She's
so
that voice is very attractive.
It's a very sexy voice.
It's a good package.
There's something, something very
Yeah,
charming
I'm
about her.
a Jennifer Tilly fan.
I would give her my Simpsons money.
Yeah.
She can have, if you're listening to this, Jennifer Tilly, you can have all of the Wii Studios money.
No, we need that money. We have to buy an air conditioner that doesn't make noise.
You'll have to roll them up, though, yourselves or bring them to the coin stock.
It's true. Please shop. Amazon.wepodcast.com.
Well, so what's next?
Next thing I
montage?
have is the montage. Yeah. So Lisa is, we are generally down on montages, but this was actually a pretty good montage.
I'm down on 8-second montages that have no point, that don't really do much.
With
and
the
then
ironic song.
Yeah, the
Yes.
ironic song. This was a montage used very
It was
well.
set to classical music, first of all, not like a song that would be on the nose for playing poker.
Poker face. Poker face.
There you go. That could have been it.
Bow, 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 bow,
Give me back.
Poker face.
Poker face.
Would be like another good poker song they could have used, like a good card. Oh, the Gambler. They didn't use a Gambler.
Gambler.
That OAR song, Crazy Game of Poker.
I love my computer.
All
'cause it's
Wrong
online
podcast.
poker.
Wrong podcast.
Deuces Wild, Aerosmith, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't use any of those songs, which
Yeah.
I liked. And it was, I forget which song it was, but it was classical
Flight of the
music.
Valkyries, I believe it was.
Was it? Okay.
So, yeah.
Maybe. I liked that it shows Lisa winning. She's gradually accumulating like $400,000. And I didn't even get the joke at first. You guys told me. She's putting on college sweatshirts, increasing in stature.
Yeah, so like when she has $20,000, now she has like a whatever it was, like a Vassar sweatshirt on.
Right.
Queens College.
Queens College. And then she works her way up, and then eventually she's like at the Sorbonne, and
Yeah. She has I think she had like Harvard with a Sorbonne.
that's good visual storytelling. It's like, look, she's
Yeah.
making more money. She's getting her college. This money's for her college fund.
Yeah, that was a very well done sequence.
Yeah, it was this part of
Because
the
it made
montage?
Sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
made
quick-
sense.
and it's quick. Well,
It advanced the story.
A montage is literally taking quick scenes from a timeline to speed up the timeline to get the story going.
Right.
That's what a montage is.
They didn't have to speed up so much because we had to have those jokes about Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, exactly. We had to make room
Yeah.
for frog jokes.
So Lisa gets into a huge hand later on where she goes all in. She has a full house, and the rich Texan was one of the guys she was playing against,
Yeah.
and it cuts to him. And I kind of like this. He says, this is just like Kenny Rogers' most famous line. That was one bad piece of chicken.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
It was fun.
But yeah, she loses that hand to Sideshow Bob, of all people. And then it's revealed very quickly that it wasn't Sideshow Bob, it was
Very
Bart.
quickly.
Now, even whether they reveal it or not, Billy did bring up a good point. You'd think they would have put a little some kind of sideshow Bob reference or something. Basically, it's
Yeah.
'cause
Sideshow
it's a-
panache.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
nothing.
a very slow scene. You're basically just watching the chips move from Lisa's pile to
It'd be
sideshow
great, like
Bob's
if he
pile.
bets and a rake would hit him in the face.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Or even
you
like
know?
the
rake
musical
to
sting.
pick up the,
Or
yeah,
the rake to pick up the. to pick-
Yeah, exactly. Something. Just like
that,
a,
yeah.
Something.
It was just nothing. It was just
You
like,
have
oh,
so
I
many-
lost to Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many years of
History.
him and so much history
Yeah.
and so many
Yeah.
bits you could have picked from
Anything.
it.
Yes.
Put him
And
there just to put him
you
there.
can argue it wasn't really him, but who cares? It's just boring to just be watching the
if-
chips move from one pile to another pile.
Correct.
If they would have did that, it would have put more doubt. Like, oh, maybe it is Sideshow
Yeah,
Bob. It
exactly.
would have made the whole
Right.
It would have made the Bart twist
Much
stronger.
better.
Instead of that, it's not even a Bart twist. It's
Yeah.
in the span of less than a minute. It's I lost my money to Sideshow Bob. Oh, Sideshow Bob was Bart. Oh, Bart is now a millionaire. Oh, Bart's not a millionaire because they took all the money away.
Yeah,
oh,
so-
and he did this because he loves me.
And what they
Yeah.
do now, what I've noticed, that they always force Bart and Lisa to somehow get along.
Yes.
At the end,
very, very forced here.
very forced.
Where Bart is
Sometimes
just
it's
like,
not
I did it
forced.
because I love
Sometimes
you.
it's- Sometimes it's well earned.
It's
like
organic,
Lisa
but
on
this
Ice
was
is
just
beautiful.
this
Yeah.
was just too forced.
And how bad? Like, why did they even have? I don't know. Why?
They didn't have to do any of this.
Why bother having Bart be involved? It's an extra step too unnecessary for a B plot. You don't need all this shit for a B plot.
Yeah,
Because,
I mean-
like you said, not only does that mean he wins the $1 million, but now they have to do a line. Oh, I lost all the money. We don't have it
Right.
anymore.
We're getting them back to square one, which is that they only have $5,000. So why did we need to have Lisa lose and she lost
Yeah.
to Bart and Bart lost all the money
literally
and
should have had
Bart
her-
did it because
yeah.
he loved her?
and like,
Because gambling is bad.
Because
and-
gambling is
and
bad.
then
There you go. That's
but
why.
and if gambling is bad and that's the character arc, then Lisa should have lost the money legitimately, and then
Right.
And that's
instead
it,
Bart
right.
lost the money.
I gotta say, Lisa learns no
or
lesson
they
here,
didn't
right?
even lose the money. They find out that they're underage and
In
they
fact,
take the money away. Yeah.
Lisa's a very good poker player. She should keep playing. She should build back up.
Yeah.
She could probably skip college and just
Yeah,
keep playing.
exactly. She's
Good
gonna take a
point.
gap.
Why go to college?
decade.
And just be a professional. Just be like Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Marry a wealthy animator.
Yep.
Play poker.
And then star in Bride of Chucky 5.
So Bride of Chucky 5, starring Lisa Simpson.
I would love to see that movie.
I like that the trailer announcer also didn't read what he was reading until they started recording.
Lisa Simpson? Like the animated little girl?
Yeah, no, that whole ending was just so
Terrible.
pointless and stupid.
Yeah, that was just, it's the end of the episode. We have to wrap it up, and we should try and make it a little bit emotional. Just
Yeah,
shove
it
that
was,
in
it
at
was,
the end.
It was all
Terrible.
shoehorned in.
Pop, 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 pop.
I can't breathe. I've lost everything. I can't. Oh God.
We can all hear you. Please log off.
So let's go back. I think that's it for the poker plot. Let's go back to the, I guess, main story.
Poker plot.
To the Gone Abie Gone plot, I guess, which just comes in at the very end of the first act. There's a scene where Homer, now completely disconnected from winning the money and all the poker stuff, he's just sitting at the kitchen table, and Marge looks at the calendar and says, "Oh my God, Homer, we forgot yesterday. Do you know what yesterday was?"
So random.
And Homer just says, I don't know, I'm curious what you guys thought about this. He goes, Happy Anna Birthentine Shark Week.
Out of all the jokes that have been used on this show, him forgetting the day has been used the most and
Completely
beaten
agree.
to death
Yeah.
and just could have been totally
Like a house guest at the Cosby household. It's just tired.
Watch your back.
It's tired.
Yeah, I
like a wine
agree.
glass in the Cosby China closet.
It'll bring you down. It brought me down. Yeah, I agree. You don't need to make a joke like we know Homer forgets days and like.
Yeah. What I did like is she points out to the calendar and it says visit Grandpa, and it's also a blue moon, which I guess they're hinting that they only visit Grandpa on blue moons, which is like
I missed that, but I kinda like
once
that.
in a blue moon.
Okay.
Which is
Thankfully, there was no Blue Moon montage with that song
Yeah, right,
on
you're
the
right.
visit there.
Blue moon. House.
Somebody wanted House to come back. So
There it was.
House. Anyway, yeah. So it was the day they were supposed to go see Grandpa. They go to see Grandpa at the retirement castle, and Grandpa's missing.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There was a calendar line I did like.
Okay.
And a great example of extra beat alarm. So get it ready. But basically, Homer is like,
think
"Oh
I know what
man,
you're
we
gonna say."
forgot about the visiting Grandpa." And he looks at the calendar and he goes, God damn it, calendar, you're always messing me up. First you put a 4th of July on a Sunday, now this. I like that he's blaming the calendar for, it does suck when you get a holiday on a weekend.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
even though you probably get a Monday
usually
off.
get the Monday off, yeah.
But it still sucks.
Yeah.
So, like, I like that joke of him blaming the calendar for the 4th of July being on a Sunday. That's almost relatable. I mean, you don't actually blame the calendar, but it's,
Right.
you get frustrated.
I agree. I like
And,
that joke.
and then extra beat.
Extra
He
beat,
writes
beat,
on
beat.
the calendar, talk to calendar.
Right.
He's going to literally, like, have a conversation with the calendar. and
Probably
be-
the best Homer moment of the episode
which one?
with the calendar. That was one, probably the
You
best
think?
Homer. Yeah, yeah.
Where he
Yeah,
actually
well,
writes it on the calendar?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that. That's what I'm saying.
Really? I thought that was
I
probably
like the
the
4th
better-
of July line.
I liked the first line. I didn't like him actually writing "talk to calendar"
It
on the
didn't bother me.
calendar.
In
but
the
it was
block,
it was
that
okay.
was probably his best Homery moments of the episode.
You know, Homer was probably the worst part of this entire episode.
I got a better
so-
Homer moment coming up. It's my second favorite part of the episode, but we'll get
Okay.
there.
But yeah, my point is, Homer was so terrible this whole episode that you're right in that, like,
Yeah.
there's much more egregious crimes in this episode.
Correct. Yeah, so they're looking through Grandpa's room to try and figure out where he went. But they find a coaster? A coaster for Spiro's.
And it's like a blue and white Greek,
classical Greek diner type
Pantheon
thing.
Pillars,
Yep.
the Greek font.
Yeah.
So I assumed it was a diner,
Right. I think we all assumed it was going to be a diner.
but it's not. It's a biker bar.
Well, it
So
was
they go, let's follow this flimsy clue. So they take the
Yeah.
on the back of the coaster is written, "This is where my life changed forever." Some
right. Which,
that's
you
what
know,
you do. Is
that's
when
what you do. Yeah.
You know, I remember that the first time I met Billy at I forget which bar it was.
Austin's Ale House,
At
yeah.
Austin's Ale House, I took one of the coasters and I wrote, "This is where I met Billy."
Yeah.
And then
And you saved it like
and
you do.
I saved the coaster in my
Yeah.
my chest.
In your coaster chest. You save all your
He has
coasters.
one for every
I have
occasion.
one for all. I keep all of my memories banked. It's like that Pixar movie Inside Out, just
Right.
except instead of translucent bulbs,
coasters.
You have your
just
core coasters
yeah.
that make up who you are.
Now, do the coasters talk to each other like are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Heineken one German and the Corona's one Mexican, right?
The Corona one is very like racistly like Mexican.
I was going to do a voice. I'm not
No,
going
don't
to.
do
I
it.
thought better of it. But anyway.
You're Irish. You could do.
Oh, but Jesus.
My Guinness coaster. You
cha-cha,
can-
cha-cha,
Toy,
cha-cha.
toy, toy.
That's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to be racist if it's your own race.
Right.
So they say.
So they say. But yeah, they go there and it's a biker bar for some reason, and Homer gets beat up by bikers for a little while. Also for no real reason.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it to be a biker bar.
Yeah.
Because we find out that the
Oh,
guy.
and then so
Spiro
Spiro comes
yeah,
out and he's.
yeah.
I think he even might have like a short order cook a diner outfit on.
He does.
But he runs the biker
But it's a
bar.
biker bar.
I thought there was going to be a joke. Oh, it used to be a diner, and then to whatever reason it became a biker bar.
No.
But no, it
used to be a jazz club, and then it just became a biker bar for no reason.
Look, Greek men named Spiro can have biker bars. They can
No, of course
have
they
jazz
can.
clubs. It's just not my first guess.
No,
Or my
I mean-
second
It's
or
not.
third or
Yeah,
fourth
yeah. I was
or
gonna
fifth.
say.
Right. I mean,
You're pretty much like pigeonholed
Yeah.
in that nationality. If you're born to a certain, you're just gonna have
Look,
a
if
diner.
you're
You're gonna
born
open a diner.
Greek, you got to open up a diner.
right. It's just, it's what you do. If you're Bill Cosby, you have to rape women. It's just what you do.
It's like, what is that? A Geico commercial?
Yeah.
Snickers
It's
what you
commercial?
It's a
do.
Geico
Yeah.
commercial. Yeah.
That's
Born
every,
Greek.
it's every Geico
Yeah,
commercial.
and you're
Yeah.
hairy.
You have a
You
diner.
open a diner.
name's Spiro.
It's what you do.
It's what you do.
This podcast sponsored by Geico.
It's not sponsored by Geico, so get Allstate. The fact that it's a biker bar or that it was even a jazz club that became a biker bar is never really referenced.
No.
And it's
No,
not even
just
a
there.
joke. It's
Yeah.
just like a thing that happens for no real
Greek
reason.
people can own whatever they want.
No, they can, but why?
There is a reference where he said he left Greece because it was. What did he say? He said I left because Greece was such a mess, or it was such a hot mess, or something. They made
Yeah.
a joke about how the country's all sorts of fucked up right now.
Right. I'm not done talking about the biker bar thing. I'm sorry. Just because the point is not that he's a Greek guy who owns a biker bar. I don't care. That's fine. It's the point that he owned a jazz club, which apparently transitioned into becoming a biker bar,
And that had nothing to do with
has
anything.
nothing to do
Yeah,
with anything.
you're right.
Why wouldn't it still
Why
be a
is it still
jazz
bi-
club?
I guess there was.
There's no humor derived from
I
the
guess
biker
because
bar
they were
thing.
trying to prove the unpopularity of jazz clubs. Maybe now I don't.
I don't know.
I was thinking there's some sense of they're following a series of clues to get to Grampa, and it's like one of those wild goose chase type story structures.
Right.
Except I think there's only 2 clues, and that's not quite Hangover Part 3.
Right.
But yeah, it's
Where's Chow?
but there's like they're following a series of clues and going to all these different locations, like Pee Wee Herman, Pee Wee's Big Adventure or something.
Sure,
So in that type of tropey, stereotypical structure, usually you go to various locales where you're a fish out of water.
Right.
And a biker bar is one of those go-to locales.
Right.
There would have
maybe
been a
that's
fish
what
out of
they would
water
do.
in a jazz club too.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're right. It should have been a jazz club.
But either way,
It should have been the scene from Collateral. Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
either way though, just like make a joke. Like Homer got beat up by bikers, and that was it. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, no,
they
there's-
stuck pool cues up his
They
nose.
think Homer getting beat up is just funny.
It's
As
not.
opposed
It's not,
to-
guys.
yeah.
This isn't
we're here
Sons
to
of
tell you.
Anarchy.
No, it's not. Wait, it's not. Oh man.
This is
For the club.
This isn't our.
That's my Jax Teller impression.
This isn't our Sam Crow. I'm
going rogue.
This isn't Sam
every
Crowcast.
episode. My family in the club. All right.
I'd do anything for my 2 sons.
My 2 sons.
Sometimes I talk British. I forget that I'm supposed
Yeah,
to be
that's
doing an
great.
American accent.
It'd be great to just make it some hateful speech to like the Mayans and spot of tea.
I watched every episode of Sons of Anarchy. I liked it.
I gave up at season 3.
Season 3 was when it stopped being
Season 2
good.
was-
Like season 3
I
was
agree.
good.
I don't like
but season 2 was great.
Season two was
Season
great.
2 got
But
was one that got me hooked.
But I
Season
kept
2
watching because it was basically a male soap opera.
Yeah, you
but it
got-
was so over the top, like melodramatic. Like every episode was like the bikers. Like we get it, they're bikers. You know they're real humans, but they look scary. But they really drove that point home. Every episode they're like hugging and kissing each other. I love you, brother.
Yeah, right,
I love
right,
you,
right.
brother.
What got me was
Please don't beat us up, any bikers listening.
what got me was like usually like they always had to do some sort of crazy zany
Yeah.
taper
Yeah.
to get to
we
the
gotta
next
steal
Yeah.
the dildos.
right
Like,
it's like from the porn palace to give to it was like all right that was
Yeah.
sort of like it reminded me of the A-Team in a way.
Yeah.
They had to sort of do something zany to get with the platform. Right.
Yeah.
and always Ron Promo would always go, I love it when a dildo plan comes together.
And he would smoke one.
He'd smoke a dildo.
I would love to see an 18
Kurt Sutter
reboot.
right now is listening to this and jotting this down. This will be great for my
gold.
Mayan spinoff. Which he is
man.
doing.
He's doing a spin-off about the Mayans?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Latino demographic
Because,
is a big...
The best execution didn't do so well, right? The Sons of
No.
Anarchy, Game
No,
of
it
I
Thrones.
did
didn't
not do
watch
so
it,
well.
but I thought like Kurt
Neither
Sutter
did
is such a
America.
weirdo and such an over-the-top guy that I thought
Yeah.
maybe a weirdo medieval over-the-top show would be awesome, but it apparently wasn't.
I didn't see it.
The wife's watched a few episodes because she's very into fantasy and Game of Thrones and
Sure.
stuff. And she said it was like Sons of Anarchy in medieval times.
See, that sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
Like, all right, all right,
That
but
could be good.
I love you, brother. I love you too, brother.
I
And the
love
two
thou
the
or
two-
whatever. And they ride horses
They get
instead
on
of motorcycles.
No, yeah. They ride-
Riding through this world
Riding
on
through
a
this
horse.
Oh no!
We've got to steal the dildos from the Dragon Factory. The dragon has a bunch of dildos piled up in his
Yeah,
mountain
well, that's what
cave.
dragons do. They hoard
They hoard
the treasures.
dildos. Never,
Oh,
it's
God.
never your dildos. It's always
It's
dragon's
always
dildos.
dildos. Yeah.
So they flash back to the Spiro tells the story. Grandpa used to work as a busboy in this jazz club.
Right.
And he's 35 years old. I don't think we've ever seen this age of Grandpa. We usually see him like a little bit older or maybe very young.
We've
Right.
never seen Grandpa with a job.
Yeah.
think-
He was the night
they
watchman of
never-
a cranberry silo
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever actually seen him in a flashback that was.
where he was working. Yeah, I
Well,
don't
he
think
was
you're right.
he worked at a carnival maybe, or he was at a carnival where he met.
Right, that's where he met Herb's
Herb's,
mother.
and I believe there's some kind of flashback. We find out how he met his British wife, which we haven't
Jesus.
gotten.
How
up
many
to.
wives has Grandpa Simpson had? Are you fucking kidding?
19.
Good Lord.
But anyway, it was a weird model. It didn't. It almost looked more like Lenny.
He looked too thin.
Yeah, he looked too thin.
Because we have seen. Well, this is.
He's always been a bulky guy, like a muscular guy.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, in the army ones or whatever.
Yeah,
or-
yeah, yeah.
He had that one tuft of hair, not the whole. I don't know,
Yeah.
usually the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen. This was like right after Mona had left, right? And we've seen clips from that time, and he looked completely different. From
Well,
how
that's
he
the other
looks
thing
here.
is they say he's 35 here, and I always got the impression that he was much older when we
Mona
see
left?
when Mona
Yeah.
left, he looked like he was 50, and he's
Yeah.
sitting on the couch, he's losing his hair,
Right.
he's drinking a beer, he's got a beer gut. The hippies are like. To him, the younger generation. He's the older generation. He
Completely
likes
agree.
what's his face with the haircut.
Johnny Unitas.
Johnny Unitas.
Could sit your watch to
so
it.
this doesn't make sense that he'd be young again and like still working like part-time jobs.
And not only that, but against his type, this would make him a beatnik, not.
Yeah. He's
you're right.
He's a creative jazz writer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was never his
Yeah.
shtick. He was always like an old school army guy.
Archie
But
Bunker.
guys, it's
sort of.
worth it to change his character all around for this great storyline.
Yeah, that's true.
in
It
this
was worth the
fantastic
sacrifice.
episode.
So yeah, he basically, even though he's a busboy, he secretly really wants to write jazz songs. And there's a line where Spiro says, I pay you to clean dishes, not to write jazz songs. And you, Marvin Hamlish, I pay you to write jazz songs, not clean dishes. And Marvin Hamlish is there just like bussing trays.
Yeah, he just says, "I like to pitch in,"
I
and it was
like-
actually Marvin Hamlish
Yeah,
too.
I like that. I like
Marvin
that.
Hamlish's
liked it too.
deep desire is to clean dishes. You know?
Yeah, I like that.
That's his fetish. That's what he ups and downs to.
But we find out that Grandpa met this jazz singer who, what was her name? Rita LaFleur.
Yeah.
Who was voiced by, I think her name is Annika Rose. She's a
Yeah.
Broadway actress. She
I
was
have
the
one
voice.
of her albums. It's actually really good. R&B.
Really?
Yeah. Not R&B, whatever it would be.
She was also the voice of Tiana, Princess Tiana in The Princess and the Frog,
Hey,
the
there's
Disney
another
movie.
frog. There's another
Hey,
famous
he's
frog.
a famous frog.
It was the Princess and the Hitler Frog.
Ava Braun and the Hitler Frog.
Why did Disney
Why
ever
hasn't
make
Disney made
that movie?
Yeah.
Walt Disney was really pushing it.
Yep.
He was.
That'd be great, like a frog version of the Third Reich. Why not?
Yeah.
Great.
And he has to he kills millions of flies. That's the whole.
We have to be careful of how we use the word "great" when talking about the Third
Yes.
Reich.
We've had
You know,
issues.
It would be great.
That'd
In that,
be
it would be interesting. Yeah.
Interesting take on.
There you go. So Grandpa was in love with this woman, and they were like a duet, I guess, where he was playing the piano and
Yeah.
she was singing, and he wrote songs for her. All this
fall
shit that
in
we've
love.
never ever heard
Right.
about ever before, and we'll never hear of again.
No.
And that kind of segues into two things. First, there's a bit about last names, which I want to talk about in a
Yes.
second. But before that, they just say it's the end of the second act, and Marge is like, "We got to find this Rita LaFleur woman. Oh, she lives in Springfield. This is her phone number. I found her."
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, no.
There's
Again,
zero
if,
tension.
If the story structure, the framework of this episode is the wild goose chase, hangover, clue to clue to clue to clue.
Right.
They're not doing any of the work. They're just
No.
like, they're not interested in that.
It's like, we got to find this woman. Oh, here she
If
is.
you're not interested in that part of the search and you're more interested in this like backstory we didn't know, then do the framework around that. Don't make it this wild goose chase where
Where we're trying to
it's
find
not,
Grandpa.
It's not a wild goose chase in that I believe the phrase wild goose chase is that it's a goose chase that's wild. You're not looking for wild
Wild.
geese. So this is just
Have you
a-
seen a wild geese?
They are vicious.
I step in their poop a lot. But, no, but this isn't a
I
wild
think
goose
I actually
chase.
think Wild Geese is a biker gang. I think I'm not.
Oh, shit.
That's the next Kurt Sutter show. The wild geese
Riding
in
through
space,
this world on a geese.
riding on this Tesla SpaceX self-driving platform landing rocket, going to space, getting dildos from planet Jupiter, not Uranus.
Oh.
Yeah. So. No, this isn't a wild goose chase. This is just like a goose chase.
It's just I found the goose is what
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
There's not even a chase.
Hey, we need to find the goose. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. But I do want to talk about this last name
Oh, I hated this
gag
last
that
name
just
gag.
went on forever.
Hated
Billy, I'm
this.
assuming you also hated it, if you
Yeah.
even remember it at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Spiro says, tell him, I think he says, tell your father, Spiro, Papadopoulos, and he just goes on with all these Greek-sounding names.
Greeks have very long, multi-syllabic names.
Right.
Isn't that funny?
They sound funny to American ears.
A lot of apoloses and oopaloopas.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Put a lot of that in there.
Isn't that?
That was one half of
That's
the joke.
one half of the joke, and even that joke is tired.
Right. Then the other half is Marge can't remember it, but then Homer remembers it.
No, Marge can remember it as
Marge
well.
remember it, and
They
Homer
both-
can't
I thought-
remember
They both remember
Rita
the name.
LaFleur.
I thought, oh, maybe.
No, they both say the name. They both.
I
can
thought
say
Marge got the Greek name wrong, and then
no.
Homer, the joke was he got the easy name LaFleur wrong,
No,
but
they-
then he repeated back
No,
the name
They
to Spiro.
both get the Greek name right.
And Homer forgets LaFleur.
The joke is like you think they're going to not be able because they're like, oh my god, how are they going to remember
I
this
don't
name?
think that's how it was sequenced.
It was. That's how.
I thought it ended with Homer repeating the Greek name.
Yeah.
But Marge gets it right.
Oh.
Yeah,
Marge
Marge
gets
got it.
I guess
it right.
that's what I'm
so Marge
confused
gets the
on.
Greek name right.
See how
and
funny
then-
this bit was?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. No, Marge, so
God.
the writers are going, all right.
Like, it was terrible. This was a
the
terrible
The writers
moment
are going
in a terrible
yeah,
episode.
the writers are saying, hey, this is a really long name. They'll never remember this. And then the joke is, hey, Marge
Right.
got it right. And then Homer goes, oh yeah, and then the second
Homer
joke
can't
is,
remember an easy
he can't
name.
remember the easy name.
Right.
And then
More forgetful Homer.
Homer says the Greek name again to push
Right,
push
right,
home.
right.
Hey, we really got this long name right, but we can't get the easy. Isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
You would think it would be the other way around. Isn't that silly?
Wow.
Isn't it good that we spent all this time with this great joke?
We're misdirected the audience. Look at us.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of humor in these later season episodes where it's just like that misdirect.
Look here, I'm up here.
Yeah,
a
where
lot
it's
of-
just like trying to distract you into laughing.
A lot of mall magician
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah.
For lack of a better phrase.
I mean, they're.
I just coined that, by the way. I'm copyrighting that. Mall magician.
Pen. No, they're counting on their audience being a little bit more pop culture savvy and expecting the punchline to the joke, so they subvert it.
Right.
And there's nothing funnier than when you can subvert a really good joke.
Sometimes you
but-
can just tell the joke, guys.
But yeah, their subversion is pandering. It's like
Yeah.
there's no thought to it. It's insulting.
Right. So Homer and Marge go to meet Rita LaFleur to learn more about their backstory.
Yeah. Also, it turns out that. Oh wait, never mind. I was gonna say Grampa. I was gonna say this is how they find Grampa.
That's coming later.
They pulled a coaster out of that one thing, out of all those things in that army box. They picked the right clue. Like
Yeah,
this is
you're right.
actually-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There
don't
was
know.
no hellfish memento in the army document like that.
Nothing.
Like, oh, let's pick this one random piece and go from there. Oh, that actually is.
Oh, and that
how
was
we
the
find
one
Grandpa.
piece we needed. Yeah, I mean, they go to meet Rita LaFleur, and they're just talking, and there's a bunch of flashbacks about like what happened, and none of it was funny. It was
Yeah,
just
no.
like,
What do you think
they
of-
got married, and Homer forgot it.
What
for
do you
some
guys
reason.
think of her performance? Did it do anything? She basically plays as like the sultry jazz singer. She ends a lot of sentences with yeah.
I think the performance was fine. It was probably the writing that was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Because I didn't.
She's
I didn't
clearly
la-
a good singer
I
because she
didn't
does
laugh
sing a
at
little bit.
anything.
Yeah, none of it was particularly funny.
At one point, they also mentioned that she's on heroin now as an older adult, and then
Yeah.
she does the yeah.
She says, "I got super addicted to
Heroin is always funny.
and then she just like slides down into her chair and like a heroin
and then she lets out
daze.
another jazzy yeah, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch
Yeah.
of flashbacks. There's a bunch of flashbacks just showing what their relationship was like, and they get married.
Well, it's Homer getting knocked around.
right.
Pretty much.
That's kind of the justification is Homer gets tied up in the
Homer's
just
about
married.
5 years old.
Right. He gets tied up in the just married, like the cans trailing along the car, and he
he
hits his
gets
head on the car.
dragged. He gets-
dragged. And then Grandpa also gets him drunk when they leave
Yeah.
Rita.
So this is why Homer never remembers having a stepmom,
Right.
A jazz singer stepmom.
yeah.
They were all jazz.
Jazz singer stepmom.
That was a Cosby Show episode, I think.
are.
I don't have anything to say about the whole like flashbacks and basically the entire Rita LaFleur plot until they find Grandpa. Like none of it worked. I wrote down I hate this episode. at one
I do
point.
like that. So they basically.
one bit I liked, which I'll get
so
to.
Homer basically gets hurt. They're in the hospital, and they get a phone call, and they say, "We get to tour Europe. We can do this." And Grandpa says, "Oh, we can't bring Homer to Europe. He wouldn't thrive there. I can't do this to my son. I got to put my son and my family first." Now, this is a big moment. This is a very family dramatic thing, but I wish there was more weight to it because it's not. If he,
It just
if he-
seems- it
if he
just
had to
seems
give
a
up,
cop-out.
Yeah, if he had to give
Yeah.
up Homer, it's like Homer can't come. You have to leave him in a boarding school or whatever.
No Homers allowed.
Yeah, no Homers allowed. You have to go to Europe by yourself. Then it's like, oh my God, that's a tough choice. But yeah, you have to put your family first. But you can
Right.
bring Homer. His thing is Homer's too clumsy and the voltage in Europe is too high. And he might get,
He might hurt himself.
Like, bring maybe
It's
Europe.
lame.
Maybe Europe would be great for Homer. Maybe it would give him more culture, make him smart. Remember, Homer had a beautiful singing voice around this time.
That's true.
It was before his puberty. Yeah, so
It's
like
just bad.
for all the weight that's there for this big decision. There's no weight. It's like you're
completely
in,
agree
it's
with
like
you.
you're in anti-gravity, so it doesn't matter how
Yeah.
weighty this decision is. It's just kind of floating there.
It's like the episode
Like
Sky
Sandra Bullock in that
Turtles.
movie.
It's like the episode Sky Turtles where Rocksteady passes out from smelling his own dirty sock, and he goes, "Ooh." This is another conversation
That's a conversation we had
and
yesterday.
we had to Google the clip to find it.
Yes, but anyway, that'll be cut.
But yeah, so basically, Grandpa says, I got to raise Homer in America for some reason.
Right.
You go on your own. So this forced separation between him and the love of his life.
Yeah.
So like you said, they're at the airport. They say goodbye to her, and they get drunk at the airport bar to forget about this, which is
Right.
why Homer never remembers this.
There's also a little Cheers
That's
thing
what-
too.
This
the
is why I'm
musical
bringing
thing.
all this up.
Yeah.
I wanted to, they bring back the Simpsons version of Cheers music, which we heard in Flaming
Flaming Moe,
Moe's,
for sure,
and
yeah.
maybe also in the Cheers scene. When Homer's looking for a new bar.
Right.
I like that. That's nice to bring back an old, like that's season 3 musical cue. That's nice.
That was nice. But the one thing that I really, really like, probably
yeah.
my second favorite part of the episode, is Homer hears this. And
So he realizes Grandpa made a huge sacrifice for him.
just for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, wow, Dad is my new hero. And he takes out a locket and he replaces a picture. He puts in a picture of Grandpa replacing his picture of Fonzie.
Yeah, the Fonz
Move
giving
over,
a thumbs
Fonzie.
up.
Yeah.
The
I
idea
love-
that Homer carries a
I
locket
love the
around.
idea that Homer has a locket with Fonzie's picture in it.
That's
I love
to me
it.
very in character Homer. That was a great joke.
I think that's what was in the locket in X-Men Apocalypse also.
Oh, there was like a weird joke. There's lots of like music puns in this episode, like lots of like heavy melodramatic lines where you thought the writers thought they were being really deep.
Yeah.
One of them, I can't remember the other one that was played totally straight, but there was another one where she said, sometimes life isn't all major chords. Sometimes you got to hit a minor key. And I like that Marge goes, what does that even mean? Because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, we get it. You're a jazz singer. Yeah. Try harder.
Try harder is absolutely correct. And then one of the things that Rita shows them is Grandpa's old cologne.
These clues made no sense.
Yeah.
This was literally worse than Hangover 3.
What was it called? It was Chicory Mist? Is that
Chicory
what it's called?
Mist, correct.
99% squirrel sweat.
Right. So they track down the only place in Springfield where Chicory Mist is sold, and that's where Grandpa is. He works at that store for no reason.
None of these clues made sense.
There was no reason they should have found Grandpa at all.
No continuity whatsoever.
This was not
None.
A to B to C to D. This was like F to X to pi symbol.
This
to
entire
Q.
episode was just, and then this happens, and then this happens.
Yeah.
But it's not like one thing never caused the next thing, which is shitty storytelling.
Yeah. This isn't a goose chase. This is when the geese fly into the engine and everybody dies.
It's like a goose slaughter. It's like fucking duck hunt.
This was a duck hunt.
And the Simpsons, Al Jean is the
Al Jean's the
giggly
fucking
dog that you're trying to shoot at
Yep.
and you can't.
That was the first time I cursed the whole time. I'm proud of myself. I usually have a pretty filthy mouth.
All right.
There you go.
We can curse. We curse all the time. Fuck this episode.
Fuck Charlie. Fuck.
Fuck shit, Trump.
Fuck Rita LaFleur.
Fuck
Hey.
Bill Cosby too, that asshole.
Yeah, stop raping women. It's not cool.
It's not.
That's my PSA.
That's it.
They don't like it, and
I'm
if
Jack
they did, it wouldn't be
Picone.
rape.
Don't rape women. Thank you.
That's my new campaign. D apostrophe D dot O dot N dot T dot R dot A dot P dot E dot. It means something.
Yeah, sure it does. So they find Grandpa at the cologne store, and he's just like, "You missed that day."
And it was
I
like
guess.
an old cologne store. It wasn't even
Yeah,
like
like the ancient cologne
Perfumania,
store.
or it was
Yeah,
just
right.
like.
So
And it's just like-
basically, Grandpa said, once you stopped visiting me, you missed your visitation. I realized, why am I sitting around waiting for you? I need some purpose in my life, so
The
I got a
visit was
job.
that day. How did he know they were not coming yet?
That's a good point.
Right?
Or was it the day before?
Well, it was the day before, but he
the
established
day
an
before?
entirely new life in less than a day.
In like 12 hours,
Yeah.
he
But
left
like-
the home and got a job in an apartment.
Now,
and
but I get that.
more than what I could do.
Yeah,
It's
well, that's
fucking
true.
amazing.
I like the idea that like it's sad for Grandpa to be in a retirement. Retirement homes are somewhat sad if you have no more purpose to life and you're just kind of waiting to die.
Yep, waiting out
which
the
is not
clock.
all of them, and it's not everybody, but it was a Grandpa. So I like the fact that he's like, you know what? I don't need to wait for. I'm not going to revolve my life around these family visitations. I'm going to
You're
get
right.
a job, and then
Grandpa taking some
Yeah. See,
agency over his
would've
own
been-
life.
That would have
That's
been a great episode.
Yeah. Well, we kind of got that episode when he worked at the Krusty Burger.
Yeah, exactly. But
Or the greeter, right? He was a greeter.
yeah, he was a greeter.
yes, he was.
There's a few good Grandpa episodes like that, and it's an interesting idea to explore because we're all going to get old and be useless someday.
You know what episode doesn't explore it?
This
one.
and then basically the episode ends with him reunited with his wife. His I guess they're still married. His wife.
Right? There was no
guess.
They're- and
there
they're
was
saying-
no divorce,
There's
right?
no there's no
Right.
status quo reset. Basically,
No, not at all.
Basically, like why
They
all
play
right,
piano together over the end credits.
Like,
She
why
play,
doesn't-
and she plays with her feet for some reason.
yeah.
Yeah, she's very flexible.
That was another like subversion thing where he comes in. It's a player. He thinks it's a player piano,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's her playing with her feet. Except
Yeah.
that doesn't make any fucking sense.
yeah,
And
there's no dramatic
why?
weight to it because who cares?
It's like,
Yeah.
are old people going to have crazy, flexible sex?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, I'm guessing she has bad osteoporosis and her bones have become rubber,
That's
and
true.
she's actually becoming more flexible.
Then that
with
would make
age.
her part of the Fantastic Four, no? I mean,
That's right. That's what happened with Mr. Fantastic. He got osteoporosis from cosmic rays. Did we even mention like I think Homer just says like, "Yeah, I'm sorry," and Grandpa's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'll go back
Yeah,
to the
no,
home."
there's no weight to it
There's
at all.
nothing. There's just nothing there.
And I'm wondering, like, if there's no reason to go back to the status quo. Look, we're in season 24 here. Maybe they should have changed canon. Maybe that from now on, Grandpa is married and has a job. They've done that before.
could do
Like
that.
Flanders got remarried.
I
and
would like to see
Skinner
Grandpa
and
living on his
Grampa
own.
dated. Yeah,
Flanders is the only one they keep.
he's one of the only one where they actually
Straight.
bother keeping the
And
continuity. Yeah.
Skinner, I guess, because Skinner
Yeah.
was involved with. But usually everybody else is kind of.
But I would be fine if like there's Grandpa's now married to this sleepy jazz and Apu. I guess Apu got married and had kids.
Right, Apu,
Yeah.
So like maybe if Grandpa just has this jazzy singer, she flushes out Springfield.
That'd
a
be
little
great.
bit
She comes
more.
over to the house on heroin.
Yeah,
And like,
have a heroin
Fun for
more.
all ages.
Simpsons episode should have more heroin addicts.
There should be an episode where Rita LaFleur comes back and gets Lisa addicted to heroin.
But yeah, no,
I would like to see Lisa to get on heroin.
What is that episode like?
But if there's no reason to reset the status quo, they don't. So they should have done that, or come up with some contrived way to reset the status quo. Something. It's really it's
She
frustrating.
has to keep her heroin money on a poker site. That should have been.
It's like what's the point of having this Grandpa storyline and this Grandpa Homer dynamic if you're not going to do with it? If it doesn't matter, it just fizzles away.
No
What's
idea.
the point? There's one line I do like at this end where where Homer just takes Grandpa's meds and eats them, and Marge goes, "Those are Grandpa's meds." He goes, "Well, I'm paying for them." I like that.
Yeah, it was
Made me
all right.
laugh.
It
I like
didn't do much for me.
I like when Homer takes advantage of the retirement home.
Yeah.
Yes, there's funny jokes there because
Yeah.
he's inherently lazy, and there's something about assisted living that it works.
It appeals to Homer.
What doesn't work is so him and Grandpa and his wife. Grandpa's old. She's also old, but she's also a heroin addict. They both fall asleep together. It's cute. It's endearing.
Right.
And Homer goes, "That's how wolves die in the wild."
Yeah.
The fuck?
What was that? It's just like old wolves fall asleep and then get killed by other predators?
One wolf does heroin and then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's that's a saying, and people. I'm sure that works somehow. But why are you saying that?
It didn't work here.
Why? Like, what is the point of that line?
I
Was
have
this
no
during
idea.
the-
What
the
was the point
writer's
of any
strike?
of this?
they
don't
just
think it was.
They just started again. They got monkeys in a room and started typing.
Yeah. I don't
It
know
was
when.
the
I
best
don't know
of
when this
time. It
episode
was the
done.
wolves die in the wild.
I don't know, but from
Lisa
all
Simpson.
issues with the continuity, it just seems like it's like a bunch of ideas just sort of.
Yeah, no,
That's-
it needed
you're
to
exactly
be. It
right.
needed to be doomsdayed.
There's no story here. There's no real jokes. There's just a bunch of stuff that happens.
Simpson, I pay you to clean tables, not to write songs. And you, Marvin Hamlish, I pay you to write songs, not to clean tables.
What can I say? I like to pitch in.
So that is it for Gone Abie Gone. It is time to rank this episode. We're going to do that on our Hippo scale, looking at the humor, the integrity, the production values, and the originality on a 0 to 5 scale. So Jack, do me a favor and put 2 minutes on that jazz clock.
I'm winding it. It's a
I see.
wind up.
It's an old time
Isn't
clock.
a jazz clock 5 minutes because heroin time delay?
That's what it is. All right, so guys, the humor of this episode, Gone Abie Gone, season 24. Billy, we'll start with you. What do you think? 0 to 5. 5 being the best, 0 being the worst.
Maybe about a 2.
2. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say about a 2.
All right. 2.5 would be average. Average Simpsons episode.
Average is 2.5.
Yeah.
Then maybe 1.5.
Okay.
I would say
think
1.5.
I
that seems
like
more
that Dan's
likely.
recalibrating the
I'm
Hippo
trying to-
scale.
2 seems insane. It seems high to me.
1 seems high to me. I'm torn between 0.5 and 1, if only because 0.5. I want to go 0.5, but there were a few jokes I really liked. I liked the locket.
Yeah. I like that too. I liked the Millhouse thing that Lisa has to keep her
I
wonder.
like the online poker dealer going, "Please stop crying. We can
Right.
all hear you." I'll go 1. I'll go 1.
I'm definitely giving it a 0.5. I thought this episode was terrible.
You're not wrong. I could go 0.5.
But the fact that I laughed like maybe 4 times was worth enough for a half point. All right, the integrity of the episode.
are the characters being themselves? Are you being moved emotionally?
Yeah. So 0 to 5. What do you got there?
0. Absolute 0. Not moved emotionally. Characters were themselves, but,
Yeah.
didn't move
Dan-
anything forward.
Yeah.
Mishmash
Yep.
is the best way I could put it.
This
Mishmash.
had about as much integrity as Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're changing Grandpa's character. We're changing all of the characters just to suit the needs of this ridiculous plot. Yeah, it's a 0. This is a fucking 0 in integrity for sure. What do you think, Jack?
I'm
You think zero's too low?
I'm very reluctant to give zeros because I feel like zero is nothing. It is an existential concept.
Yeah.
If the ancient Mayans were doing this podcast, they wouldn't even have a concept of zero to give it a zero. So zero, I try to reserve for really bad, and I'm trying to convince myself why this isn't a zero.
See,
I'm trying to figure out, is there something I can justify giving this a 0.5? And I'm coming up short.
I'm looking back on our old rankings, on our worst episodes. You've never given a zero for anything, I don't think.
I've
given a few zero integrities and one zero humor.
Zero has to be a complete absence of anything.
I'm sticking with my zero.
I'm trying to find one reason to give this a 0.5, and I am coming up short. Lisa, sort of with the gambling, zero. I'm giving it a zero.
Lisa did want to go to college. I'm showing her integrity.
I'm giving it a zero.
I think it's a good
It
move.
was a good idea by Mo to put the money in like.
Yeah, right. I believe that is your first zero ever, Jack.
I don't want to give it. I'm really reluctant, but I can't think of a reason.
I'm
not
happy
to.
I brought this episode.
Thank you so much, Billy. You've ruined my whole day, but we've
Hold on.
got a
I gotta
bottom
write
shooter
this
here.
on a coaster. This is a big day. This is a big moment.
What coaster is this? This is the
Wii Studios
Presidente.
The Wii Studios coaster, which is also a zero shape. So it's all,
true.
It's all full circle, which is also a zero.
Oh my God! It's all coming together. The production values of this episode 0 to 5. What do you think, Billy? Production-wise, there were some things we said we liked.
Voice acting was fine.
The poker site was good.
The poker side was good. The voice acting was pretty good. I liked
Thought
Jennifer
they could have done
Tilly.
more with the wacky racist couch gag.
Yes, but the
got
character
Chucky's
designs
joke
looked pretty
wrong.
good.
They got Chucky's
could have
voice
been better.
Yeah, Chucky's voice wrong, and
Yeah,
look at
that's
Chucky.
true.
All he had a watch on.
Oh.
He had a
Yeah, he had a
watch.
watch. Yeah, because time
What's
is
a
money.
killer
He had a
doll
watch
these
I'm giving it
on.
another zero.
Not a,
No, you're
maybe-
right.
Maybe one, I guess.
Okay.
But you know what? 1.5. I'll give it 1.5.
All right, 1.5.
I might go higher. I might go 2. There's nothing egregiously wrong with the production here.
Yeah.
2.5 is average. This was average, I guess.
I was kind of thinking 2.5 myself and just go straight average. Just, there were some things I liked, but you guys just pointed out a bunch of
The
stuff that was
montage
not
was
good.
well done.
Montage was well done, and I thought the Marvin Hamlish's one line, he delivered it well. There you go, a half point for him. And finally, the originality of this episode.
So the storytelling structure, which was goose chase, goose extermination, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I mean, it's original.
Grandpa having a jazz singer wife.
Yeah.
If you would
That's
have
certainly
asked
original.
me,
and the mystery that wasn't about how to find him.
yeah, if you would have put me in a room and somebody asked me, give me some predictions of a future Simpsons episode, I would never come with any of this.
Yeah, that's
None of this would
that's
ever
true.
cross my mind.
This is in the actual strictest terms of originality. Yes, this I think
Yeah.
that this earns some points. But the storytelling and the structure,
the
was
plot
a
structure,
complete
we
mess.
count that in here
That
too.
was a complete
So
mess. So I'm torn.
pretty
now.
bad.
Like I would almost give it another 0, except for the fact that yes, it is an original. The story there's have to even the online poker. There's something there. This could have been a better episode.
the online poker stuff works a lot better for me than the grandpa stuff.
Maybe if there were like 2 separate episodes.
Yeah, I think
You said a lot on this
you
show,
could have
yeah.
had 2 separate episodes and maybe just not do the grandpa one and just do the poker one. I'm going to give it a 0.5 originality, just pretty much for the poker, because I liked some of the things they did there. It could have been done a lot better, but that was the germ of a good idea.
I'm thinking either 1 or 1.5.
Okay.
0.5. Either a point. I'd say there's a 0.5 there in just general structure, and then another point for it actually being an original idea.
Yeah.
But 1.5 almost seems high to me. I'll go 1 or 1.5. I don't know.
Okay, we have crunched our numbers, and Gone Abie Gone from season 24 has ranked very, very low. It is number 3 on our worst episode ever
Great
list.
job, Billy.
Thanks.
So right to the bottom, number 3. It's right between a slightly better episode than The Greatest Story Ever Doed and a slightly worse episode than Bonfire of the Manatees. Both
Wow, it's
also
worse than
episodes
Bonfire of the Manatees.
that we hated.
Wow.
That was
You really hated Bonfire of the Manatees, really?
yeah. That was a worst episode for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin's guest appearance.
Oh no,
not
Outlaw
ringing
was great. Homer was terrible, and
Yeah.
I think Homer was pretty bad in this
So
one.
many
too.
rubes.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, pretty bad episode. So that's it for this episode of Worst Episode Ever. If you have a terrible episode, if you think you have a bottom shooter that could be worse than this one, send it on in. Go to wepodcast.com. We have a form where you can do that. And while you're there, you can also get to our Facebook, our Twitter, our subreddit, which is where we have a lot of good conversations with you guys.
Yeah, lots of disagreeing with us
Yep.
and telling us what we
We
were
don't like the
wrong.
disagreements, but
I like the disagreements. Tell us what we missed, what we wrong. Fact check us.
I like the ones when it's like, Freet is great, and like, we want more Freet.
I'm not crazy about those.
It wouldn't be. But check those out. It's r/worst worst episode ever. And you can also check out 90s Percentile, which is our other podcast, which is a lot of fun if you haven't checked it out yet.
Leave us iTunes reviews for both, 5 stars if you could.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this the day it comes out and you are in the Brooklyn area, you can come to Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia tonight at Berry Park in Williamsburg. I host that with friend of the show, Dan Ozzie, and it'll be a good time. That's, Google it for more information.
I hope to make it there one day.
You should. It's a great time. You should come tonight.
Give Dan your money.
Yeah, give me my money.
And if you're listening
Pay
to
me
this,
what you owe me.
if you're listening to this on Saturday, June 4th, come see me and Billy. Billy's got a show at where is it?
Mike's Tavern in Ozone Park, Queens, 88-14 Liberty Avenue.
What time's it start?
Free comedy show at 9 o'clock.
And just rattle off.
What are you charging for this free comedy show?
$7.50.
And just rattle off real quick where anybody can see you performing for the month of June.
So like I said, I'll be at the Mike's Tavern June 4th. And June 11th, I have a big roast with some of the guys, all the guys from Howard Stern, me, Stuttering John, Jackie the Joke Man. That'll be at the Holiday Plainview.
Nice.
Holiday Inn in Plainview, June 11th, 7 p.m.
There you go.
Awesome.
So check it out. Billy's a very funny guy, and we love when you support Friends of We Studios.
Yes, and Billy, if people want to follow you on Twitter, for example, how can they do that?
On Twitter, I'm at It's Tricky, ITSTRICHY.
Okay.
It's an offshoot of a disorder I have called Trichotillomania.
So it's
And there you go.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
At It's Tricky.
All right, nice. I'm at Then Dan Says.
I'm at Jackie No Brakes. Mine's just about. I didn't have brakes on my bicycle, and I used my feet.
Mine is just I'm Dan, and then I'm going to
You
say
say
something. And I have, except I don't because I haven't tweeted in a very long time. But follow me anyway. I like it. Next week we're going to be doing another episode, season 25's Brick Like Me, which I have not seen.
It's the famous Lego episode.
The Lego episode. It should be an interesting one.
We've heard good things.
We're actually going to Periscope our recording of that.
We're gonna live stream
Or we're
it.
going to live stream it. You're right. We may not do it on Periscope. We might try Facebook
I hear
Live.
Facebook Live is really good. We might have to wear Chewbacca masks if we
We'll
do
see.
it.
We'll see.
Do the whole show. If we have the $90 to buy them on eBay.
Yeah, we'll put an announcement up, I guess, in the Reddit, and we'll tweet it and
Yeah,
put it on
just
Facebook.
keep an eye out for it. We're going to tweet it. It's probably going to be, I'd say, around 1 o'clock.
Right, on Sunday.
1 o'clock Eastern.
What's the date? What's that date?
Today-
Is that the
June
5th? June 5th.
June 5th, yeah.
So Sunday, June 5th.
I'll be hungover
we'll,
from
we'll
my
probably
show with
Periscope
Billy.
that episode. And that is going to be
So yeah, if you want to watch us
special episode.
live, and if you want to watch us live and catch us live, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
If if you're in Europe, it's not too late. If you're in the West Coast, it's hopefully not too early.
Yeah, get up early. We're worth it.
But there's a special reason we're doing it. You might not like to hear this, guys. It's sort of bad news, maybe.
It's they might be indifferent
Bittersweet.
towards it. Next week is actually going to be our last episode, not ever, but our last episode for a little while.
Unless one of us dies.
Unless one of us dies.
Then it's our last episode ever.
We're going to take a little bit of a break from worst episode ever.
For the
We're
summer.
still going to do 90s Percentile throughout the summer, so you can, if you really need us, you can listen to that show.
But we decided to spend our summer weekends at the beach and
Right.
with our significant others.
Yeah, it's summer and we want to be outside in the heat and not inside in the heat. So that's what we're going to do. So next week's going to be our last episode. We'll probably come back in September, but come back next week. Watch us on Periscope if you want. And
we're gonna try. We might just enjoy having free time for the first time in a year and a half, but we're gonna try to come up with some fun things to do with the Wii Studios.
yes, continue to subscribe to the feed. We may release a few things,
Yeah.
and again, 90s Percentile will still be going strong. So that is it for this episode of Worst Episode Ever. And Billy, I'm going to turn to you. How do we always end every episode?
By saying goodbye.
That's a good.
That's how we're doing it
great
today,
way to do
guys.
it.
Goodbye.
Start with your Simpsons money, use a little girl voice, and take them for everything they've got. Now, I'm needed on the set of Bride of Chucky 5.
Time is money.
Money is money.